The hidden cost nobody's talking about. Sam Altman says a single ChatGPT query uses 1/15 of a teaspoon of water. Morgan Stanley projects that AI data centers will consume 1 trillion liters annually by 2028. Both numbers are true. Both numbers are lies. And understanding why reveals something far more dangerous than water scarcity. This is Capital KV, where money, power, and history collide. Today, we are exposing the architecture of industrial deception, a pattern perfected over centuries that is now being deployed to hide the real cost of the AI revolution. The illusion of measurement. When Altman quotes 1/15 of a teaspoon per query, he is using the oldest trick in the industrial playbook. Isolate one moment in a vast supply chain, measure only that moment, and present it as the whole story. The same tactic hid the true cost of coal during the Industrial Revolution, concealed oil's devastation in the 20th century, and now masks AI's resource hunger. The math is always technically correct. The picture is always deliberately incomplete. The 3 hidden layers. Behind every ChatGPT conversation sits a resource pyramid that Silicon Valley does not want scrutinized. Layer 1, the training. Before you ever ask a question, massive computational clusters run for weeks or months, burning electricity and water to create the models. According to University of California estimates, training accounts for roughly 50% of total AI resource consumption. That water has already been consumed. Those costs are already baked in. But Altman's calculation pretends training does not exist, distributing its burden across millions of future queries until it appears to vanish. Layer 2. The hidden queries. When you ask a complex question, modern AI does not run one query. It runs reasoning loops, internal queries you never see, evaluating, reprompting, searching the web, generating responses it discards. One question from you might trigger 10 or 15 queries behind the curtain. The water cost multiplies invisibly. Layer 3. The power plant. Phantom. Thermoelectric power plants, coal, natural gas, nuclear, all use water to generate electricity. They account for 40% of freshwater withdrawals in the United States. When analysts want AI water use to look massive, they include this. Suddenly, 1 trillion liters does not sound so impossible. But here is what they do not tell you. Most of that water flows through the plant and returns to the river or lake. It is not consumed. It is cycled. The waste heat matters. The ecological impact is real. But calling it consumption is technically accurate and fundamentally misleading. The pattern is always the same. Expand the boundary when you want the number large. Shrink it when you want the number small. Control the framing, and you control the perception. The historical echo. Every industrial revolution hides its costs until the bill comes due. Coal powered Britain's rise while externalizing costs onto workers and poisoned rivers. Oil repeated the pattern, deferring environmental and geopolitical consequences for generations. Those who built the systems extracted wealth. Those who inherit the world pay the price. Now AI promises transformation. And once again, costs are being quietly externalized onto municipal water systems, electrical grids, and taxpayers who will fund infrastructure expansion. The playbook never changes. The technology does. The deception remains constant. The resource shell game. Here is the truth neither Silicon Valley nor its critics want you to see. Context determines impact more than volume. A data center in the Pacific Northwest has a radically different footprint than one in Arizona where aquifers are overdrawn. But the discourse does not allow nuance. So Altman says 1/15 of a teaspoon, and people think AI is free. Activists say 1 trillion liters, and people think AI is destroying the planet. Both refuse to admit the complexity. The real issue is whether the people making decisions about where to build these systems and who pays for infrastructure are being honest about the trade-offs. History suggests they are not. The transfer in progress. Data centers are being built at staggering speed. Microsoft, Google, and Amazon collectively spend over $100 billion a year on new facilities. That capital flows to construction firms, chip manufacturers, utility companies, and the investors who own equity in those industries. The costs land elsewhere. Ratepayers see electricity bills climb. Municipalities strain to provide water. Taxpayers subsidize expansion through tax breaks. The profits are private. The costs are public. This is the same wealth transfer we have seen in every industrial boom. The railroad barons built empires on public land grants, kept the profits, and left towns with the costs. Tech giants repeat the pattern with data centers instead of rail lines. The lesson for the prepared. If you want to protect yourself from this cycle, you need to stop arguing about teaspoons and start recognizing the pattern. Every industrial transformation creates winners and losers. The winners are never the ones arguing about the measurements. They are the ones positioned to profit from the infrastructure, regardless of who pays for it. Invest in utilities that will expand to serve data centers. Follow the money into construction, into rare earth mining, into the supply chains that feed the AI build-out. Or, if you believe the bubble will burst, position yourself to benefit from the collapse. Buy distressed assets when enthusiasm fades and capital dries up. The point is not to be right about whether AI is good or bad. The point is to be positioned to benefit either way. That is what the wealthy have always done. They do not predict the future. They hedge it. The illusion of progress. The most dangerous part is that this distracts from the real question. Is any of this actually necessary? Silicon Valley has convinced the world that AI is inevitable. But necessity is a story, not a fact. The build-out happening now is not based on proven demand. It is based on speculation, on the assumption that more compute will unlock more value indefinitely. If that assumption breaks, $1 trillion in capital vanishes, and we are left with data centers consuming resources for workloads that never materialized. History teaches us that collapses are always preceded by certainty. The railroad boom, the dot-com bubble, the housing crisis. Every time the narrative was that this time is different. Every time wealth transferred from the believers to the prepared. So here is the final lesson. Do not waste energy arguing about water use. Understand that you are watching a wealth transfer in progress, disguised as technological progress, using the same deceptive measurements that have worked for 3 centuries. Recognize the pattern. Position yourself accordingly. And remember that when the story changes, the only people who survive are those who never fully believed it in the first place. History has the answers. I will show you where to look.